Well, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once more to the last of our videos of Baroque organ music. We move to 20th century French next week. But now I'd like us to explore the apex of Bach's career, not just as an organist, but as a composer. For his contrapuntal ingenuity is what makes Bach stand aside, really, from his contemporaries. We're looking at a manuscript. We're in Berlin, and we're looking at the most important source for Bach's Lutheran chorale-based organ music. This is manuscript P271, which is held in the Staatsbibliothek in Berlin. It survived the war. The origins of P271 stem from the 1730s, when Bach amassed a large amount of manuscript paper called MA, medium size. He set out to write some fair copies of the 6 trio sonatas and also set aside a large store of this medium-sized manuscript paper for assembly throughout the rest of his career of chorale-based organ music. In particular, the 18 great chorales that were originally composed in Weimar, copied so they were legible for performance. Now, in terms of publication, we know that Bach had published a large quantity of keyboard music in the form of the 4 books of Klavierübung. Also, there was the composition of the B minor Mass, written for the Catholic court at Dresden. But for the transmission of the main body of Bach's organ music, it wasn't publication that was important, but copying. Manuscripts exist not only in Bach's handwriting, and here we're looking at Bach's own handwriting, but in this preserved and paginated manuscript P271, there are 2 other noteworthy hands. That of his pupil Altnicol, who studied with Bach in Leipzig in the 1740s, and also the hand of Anonymous 5R, and scholars still haven't been able to agree on who Anonymous 5R is. We'll come to him in a minute. The year for us now is 1748, and we're coming towards the end of this manuscript P271, which he'd been copying for well over 10 years. The previous year, 1747, saw the publication of the printed copy of his canonic masterpiece, the canonic variations on the Christmas Lutheran chorale Von Himmel hoch, da komm ich her. The melody is purportedly by Luther himself, and it's the song of a descending angel who, in the verses of Von Himmel hoch, describes the wonders of the Incarnation. In the published version of 1747, BWV 769, the order is climactic. That's not what I play. I play from P271, and I play BWV 769A, in which the order is much more satisfying. It builds to a central climax, and the final 5th canon is the augmentation canon. Starting on the left-hand page, page 100 of P271, we see the first of the canonic variations, and here in the pedal is the chorale theme. Notice also Bach uses the soprano clef for the right hand, so the canon is between right hand and left hand, and the free bass is the chorale theme. So the first variation there on page 100. Moving across to page 101, a very similar movement, where the two hands play the canonic playful music, and the chorale theme is in the bass. On large organs, I will often contrast an 8-foot reed for the first movement and a 4-foot reed for the second movement. These two we know were composed at the same time, and probably in Bach's original idea they belonged together as one unit. Expansion was to follow. Here starts the third movement and moves over the page. The chorale theme has migrated to be heard in canon and in inversion in the hands with a free bass played by the pedal. Turning over the page, this is the most developed, most demanding movement, and semiquaver movement breaks out for the second part, and also he signs it with his signature using the musical letters BACH here towards the end. There then follows the cantabile movement, a melody which then is underpinned by canonic writing between left hand and pedal, and then we reach here the final movement, the augmentation canon, in which the left hand is a much slower version of the melodic right hand, and again the pedal plays the chorale theme from Himmelhoch. At the end of this piece, the handwriting changes. Bach's finished writing, but there's some manuscript paper left over, and Anonymous 5R has taken over with the chorale for Deinen Thron. And this copy finishes where the composer died before completing the chorale. So here is BWV 769A, the original manuscript version, which postdates the published print of the canonic variations on Vom Himmel hoch.